Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good day, free enterprise fans around the world, and welcome to this fantastic installment of the ZZ5 Blue Moon race between Commander Leonhart and Apex Corvid. My name is Possum Morpheus, and I am joined by the Mysidian prodigy. When she was a Kaid, she wanted to be like Rydia. It's the one and only Flossie Fern. How you doing this evening, Flossie?
Hello, everybody, and I really appreciate your pronunciation there. I'm happy to be here. It's my first time ever on comms, so be nice.
Well, I will say that I think you're in good hands. Those hands, of course, being Asuka as our restreamer and Jayber and TR as our tracker. Me, well, not so much. I probably can't be trusted around buttons or anything else, but that's a-okay because we don't have to worry about those. Again, that is our tracker's job, Jayber and TR. We also do have, like I said, though, Commander Leonhart and Apex Corvid. They're going to be going on a boss hunt, and that boss hunt is going to have a lot of very interesting bosses on it. We have Golbez, we have the Gauntlet, and then we got 6 bosses other than that. Kind of a mix of some tough ones like Asura and possibly Elements, and some real freebies in there. Karate, Bahamut. What are you kind of looking at there, Flossie? Anything scare you, stand out to you?
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting list to me. I feel like I would be maybe a little confident seeing this list. I'm never all that intimidated by Pale Dim or Karate. Azura can be tricky depending on the spot. Obviously, Golbez, is Trollbez.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to shout out Commander Leonhardt's naming scheme here. Senator Crocodile, Ambassador Armadillo for 2024. I think that is a campaign that I can get behind. Definitely going to have to volunteer my time to help that out. Because I don't know what's going on in Baron Castle or throughout the Blue Planet, but I think we could use some change.
Well, I've already got my yard sign out, so we're good to go.
Dang, one step ahead of me. You're already too good for your first time on comms. But I will say I am looking forward to this match. The last time these two gents were in a tournament, Apex Corvin made a pretty decent splash, and Commander Leonhart pulled off one of the upsets of the tournament in Adamant Cup when he was able to defeat Dusty Griff during the group stage. So we'll see how our runners are able to get going here. Worth noting, we have a Cecil to start with here, a Sparkle, and we also have a Soma drop, which could be nice if exactly a Fusoya shows up. I'm refusing to acknowledge the existence of the small white mage besides Cecil.
See, I am actually kind of a Porum fan. I'm relieved to see her right off because I know there's going to be a white mage in the seed, so I can kind of put that in the back of my head and not worry about it, but I understand how you feel.
I'm pretty sure that coffins are the best item that one can find with a Porum around, but hey, to each their own. Blue Moon Seeds, you are more familiar with these than I am, Flossie, as I know you have run quite a few of these, and you yourself are in the Blue Moon tournament. What is your general game plan with a start kind of like this, where you don't have an edge, you don't have a Fusoya? Do you go looking for characters? Do you go free item? What's kind of your strategy on these?
I kind of have a pretty set overworld thing that I like to do. I'm on the Apex Corvid side here, where I like to go to Mysidia first and see who I get. And looks like he's got Sid and Edge, which I would be pretty happy with seeing that Edge especially. And I just missed what Bedward gave.
Just a tower key, so of no use yet, but nice once we get underground, and is impetus to get underground as quick as possible.
But Commander's gonna do the mini treasury here as well.
Yeah, interested in if we get anything good out of this mini treasury. With it being T Wildish loot settings, there is pretty much good stuff all over the place. Elven Bow, Charm Rod, Blizzard Spear, Poison Axe, yeah, I mean, Crystal Armor, lots of tier 4s and 5s there. Good money in that public treasury. But with that edge, I do wonder if Apex Corvid is going to do some early shopping here. If Commander were to fade these shops, which he is not going to, and we see like long swords, mute knives, especially with Asura being one of our objectives, and the elements. The Ruby phase is also weak to mage mashing. I am curious if we get anyone poking around for some mashing based on the bosses.
Yeah, it looks like Commander sold that crystal armor, which I always like to do as well, because I tend to forget that it prevents Berserk. So, unless you have the Avenger, you are not Zerking with that Cecil unless you have that, or you don't have that armor on. So I like to sell it.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you. And even when I remember that it prevents Berserk, I still then forget it because, well, yeah. Also, Troyamus getting in Commander Leonhart's way, and he's going to go shopping as a result and find some black belts. While Apex Corvid found Rydia, which is the correct pronunciation.
No comment. And looks like Apex is gonna get the hovercraft, which I like to call the golf cart. Check out that little treasury there as well.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for the golf cart, for the dwarf toilet, and for many other things that we affectionately know and love around these parts.
Nice sorcerer robe there in the Damsian treasury.
Yeah, interesting to note that we have basically come up completely empty on edge weapons, which is a bit of a rarity for T Wildish, as well as Rydia summons. We're missing two fairly key components to getting an early party started here. And we haven't even stumbled across anything like a black sword as well. So, pretty interesting stuff as far as the loot. We found a lot of cane weaponry, but not much else. And of course, there is our mandatory
the man of the hour.
bard. Yeah.
Yeah.
The worst vanilla in the game, but he does come with a dancing dagger, and I think Apex Corvid took that dagger so he can put it on edge. That's actually really keen to do that.
It's interesting, back to the edge gear, you kind of take it for granted in this flag set that you're just going to load up on edge stuff whether or not you have them in your party, so that is definitely an interesting aspect.
Oh yeah, and we see Commander Leonhart doing a deep loot here of Watery Pass, picks up a Bacchus Wine, but more importantly a Zeus Gauntlet, so he is rewarded for that deep dive. That is a very nice piece of equipment.
You
Zeus
never
Gauntlet.
hate that.
Yeah, really, really nice pickup there.
And Ordeals looking like we are getting a Tella.
Now that's a real white mage if I've ever seen one. And was that karate in the
Yeah,
waterfall?
Leonhart just found Karate, taking a shower there, and reset out.
To be fair, I know at least collectively where we are, it's been well north of 110 degrees this week. If karate is enduring anything like we are, that shower is welcome in that waterfall.
Absolutely. Well said. And Apex looks like they're going right for Eblin Castle, which I love doing. It's hard to get me out of that zone to not loot this castle. It just seems like it's got really, really great stuff, this flag set, every time.
Yeah, this is a little interesting because it does mean that a potential double dip is on the table. Where you're going to loot this now, you'll find out where the traps are and such. But if you were to come back here after doing Ordeals, you might be able to get through this in one fell swoop. So I do wonder if we might get a change of ideology from Commander Leonhart here, if he may go up Ordeals and come back to Eblin after going through and getting that paladin online, so he doesn't have to worry. But Apex did exit out, but is going to hop back in. So lots of looting going on for our runners right now.
Yeah, those monster chests can be tough even if you have gone through Ordeals, so I definitely see the play here.
And looks like Commander Leonhart going to figure out who his last two characters are. Likely going to be extremely happy to see Edge, and we'll see if Sid comes along. I'm not sure the Sid has a place in this party at the moment, but certainly Edge does. And Sid does go. Interestingly enough, I believe we are keeping Edward
Like
on Commander's side, so we might be hoping for a spoon.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, as someone who's very fond of Spoonward now, albeit on Red Moon flags, A little less so on Blue Moon, but Spoonward is still a heck of a lot of damage. And to answer a question from chat, Hourglass 2s can be in shops, but they will only be potentially in gated item shops. So that would be underground shops, the Moon shop, or the Eblin Cave shop. So that would be the best place to find them. Once the hook is located, we can pick up some hourglasses and go fighting whatever we want here at Eblin Castle.
It's always a relief to see those hourglasses in that Eblin shop.
Oh yeah. Makes potential scary hook routes easier, makes trap chests easier, just makes a lot of stuff easier. Now, as far as another question from chat, the difference between blue and red moons. The big difference is a blue moon has T Wildish, which means the loot is really good. Red moon has T Pro, which is less good loot. Blue moon, you have all characters available except Fusoya, unless he's your starter. On red moon, you only get one of three, either Fu, Cecil, or Edge. Everybody else is available though, but those three, you only get one of the three, and that's it. That's your starter. Other subtle differences, glitches. You have the warp glitch, the life glitch, the sylph glitch, and the back row glitch on Blue Moon, and you only have the life glitch on Red Moon. So it's definitely a different puzzle to figure out. Blue Moon is more about leveraging your power. Red Moon is more about figuring out the puzzle that is the seed with a little bit less in the way of power.
Definitely feel that lack of the back row glitch in Red Moon for sure.
Oh yeah, it's a peach, especially when you find like a required CPU at the element spot. And you're like, how do I deal all of the damage to this? It's awful.
Alright, first Ordeals boss coming up here. Looks like we have Bahamut.
That is a required boss. So we now know where Karate is, and we have Bahamut here. That's going to be putting a couple of different bosses on track for our runners.
Looks like Leonhart's just going for the out damage before the mega nuke here.
Yeah, which definitely makes a lot of sense.
Probably, yeah, no need to waste those Star Veils.
Yeah, Star Veils, although you do start with a ton of them, it is nice to kind of ration them. So I definitely agree
go fast.
With
I've found Ordeals can get rid of them for you if you wanted to.
And we do see the CommanderLeonhart first through, and apexcorvid going to be right behind him. But that is the first boss completed for CommanderLeonhart. And hot on his heels, apexcorvid has also defeated that Bahamut.
And we have another required boss here. We've got Elements in the back attack spot.
So one of the interesting things about Elements here, there's a couple things actually. Normally with Elements, when you have an edge, you have to be taking a little bit of a wait to let the elements set the initial weakness, because otherwise what will happen is you could do something like Flame, and it won't actually trigger the elemental weakness to fire. So if you wait a little bit, then the weakness kicks in and then you can Flame. Now at back attack, there's that built-in delay, which automatically sets that. So it's kind of nice to find Elements here. Is it CommanderLeonhart making very quick work? The magic at this spot is a little scary. A Fire 3 here could do very bad things to apexcorvid's team. This is a little bit spooky.
Here's the Fire 3.
That is no bueno,
Yeah,
and that is going to be a
worse.
wipe for Apex, unfortunately. So CommanderLeonhart a little bit ahead now as a result of that, and is rewarded with a Paladin and a Spoon.
Oh, there's the Spoon, so this could be interesting for Eddie here.
Yeah, the faith in the Spoon word, that is going to pay off big time for keeping that bard around.
We have a blue robe coming up for Commander, and it is the Alt Gauntlet.
Well, this is interesting. We have a Stardust Rod, I believe. Or if not, we have enough AoE, I think, to get through this with Flame. But that is 3 for 3 on Ordeals. So worth saying that Ordeals is pretty hard required. And I guess there is no Bard on Commander side. I must have missed that. I thought he kept that Bard. But I'm sure that we'll be going to pick that Bard up soon.
Yeah, I thought that he had that too, but I would be very shocked if no one picked Eddie up after that.
And we see that Silver Knife doing quad damage to the soul because it is a spirit. And that Silver Knife really, really putting in work. 2,600 damage there. It's quite nice. And this does already set us to 4 known bosses. Gauntlet, Karate, Bahamut, and Elements. So a lot of work being put in here early by our runners. Just how quickly does Osceola want to get out of restreaming duty tonight is the question.
And Apex taking on Elements again. He's at the Ruby spot.
Yeah, we'll see. There is a Boreas there.
Boreas.
Yeah.
There he goes. He's through.
Yeah, that is very good. That's going to make sure that we don't really have too much to worry about. No Fire 2s, no Fire 3s. That's a good situation now for Apex. Unfortunately, he did have to redo that Bahamut fight. So did lose not just that Elements time, but also the Bahamut time. And Commander Leonhart, meanwhile, I believe is on Fight 4 of this gauntlet. Excuse me, Fight 5 already. So making really great work of this gauntlet with his J items and the AoE from Edge, which does fire damage, obviously, being called Flame, although not everything in this game is as intuitive. A lot of the enemies up here are weak to fire.
All right, Apex is about ready to take on the gauntlet.
Yeah, so if you're in Commander Leonhart's shoes here, having just finished up Ordeals, are you a fan of the Ordeals Siren to take on Lilith, or would you pass on that, given you just did a gauntlet? And if so, would you be headed to Baron Inn next? Would you go to Eblin to find a Holy Sword? What would you be doing in this case, Miss Flossie?
I actually was just talking about the old Siren Ordeals thing this morning, and I think I said I've never tried that, but I'd like to. I'd like to start folding that in. But generally, depending on what I get in the room up there, I do like to go to Baron Inn after this, and then after that, I do start thinking about, if I don't have the hook, where is it? And if I do have the hook, am I going to loot Eblin Castle? I kind of like wrapping up my looting after, at this part, and seeing where I'm going to go with that. So we'll see what Leonhart does here after his Mysidia dip. Looks like he's going to go grab Eddie, really.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. I think this is, for me, the odds-on play, the smart play, whatever you want to call it. I'm a big fan of an early Spoonward. I think that is fantastic. I'm all about getting whatever power overwhelming you can and leveraging it. That's just the name of the game on the Blue Moon flags. So very heads up to do that.
The great thing about T Wildish is that you can kind of just get your looting done early, which I like. I don't like thinking about inventory later on in the seed. So
yeah, get your looting done, get everything sold off, keep that inventory nice and clean, and kind of go from there. Definitely like that approach. And it looks like we're getting through that gauntlet on Apex's side. I do think that Commander Leonhart has been a little bit smoother on this gauntlet. Didn't have to use a Stardust item on other things, so is definitely picking up time the longer Apex is on this fight. But I believe Apex may be able to pick up a little bit of time if he's able to one-shot that waterfall, because I don't think he's peaked that yet, whereas Commander has. So he is going to ultimately be double dipping.
Sure, and nobody has actually looked in Mist Cave either yet, I believe.
And Mist Cave is a stinky place.
We don't talk about Miss Cave.
Yeah, Miss Cave, I mean, at least it no longer has that wonderful yellow screen when you exit out. So that's a plus.
I remember that, actually. Yeah, what happened to that yellow screen?
It got patched, thankfully.
Gotcha.
And we have Commander Leonhart going through and doing the looting that Apex already did. The difference is he is here for a much more direct purpose. That direct purpose is, I have a paladin, I want a holy sword. The Black Cats, being, well, rude because, well, cats, have decided Edward, who's the primary damage dealer here, is not going to be able to deal damage. So, bye-bye!
Who hasn't gotten blustered by their cat?
Well, the fun thing is that bluster is supposed to be blaster. It's just a mistranslation, which makes it even better. That like a cat would be just kill-shotting you all over the place.
That's amazing.
Luckily, Edge dodges the death of the bluster blaster, but does get hit with the paralysis, which is also still not the best.
The Black Cats have, what, about 600 HP, so they can be gotten rid of pretty easily, but they can still do a lot of damage to your party, so it looks like he's through now.
Yeah, I think it's like 583, or it's some weird number. 592, I don't know, it's like 8 or 20 damage, something like that, shy of 600. It's super strange, it makes no sense, but, you know, whatever, it's a feature. And we see
Warded? Is that a white spear?
White spear, yeah, that's not... I mean, it's cool, you can throw it at something, but...
Yeah,
we don't have a cane.
And Apex is out of Ordeals and is heading in the direction of, yep, going to pick up that Eddie.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, again, it's a source of power, and you just want power. Power is good. Edward, a lot of people poo-poo on Edward, they poo-poo on Tella, but guess what 2 people are in this party right now? Edward and Tella.
You gotta work with what you have.
Bye, Rydia. Wait, do I say Bidia
Right,
for that?
Bidia.
How does that work? Okay.
I like it.
All right, let's see if Eblin is going to have anything in the way of holy swords for our runners. So far, I've seen a white spear, and honestly, pretty meh loot for T Wildish
It's been kind of
Eblin.
lackluster here in the castle today.
The big hit so far has been the Zeus Gauntlet from the back of Watery Pass for Commander Leonhart. Outside of that, no power shirts. I guess he bought some black belts, which is cool, but like, we are hurting for the normal strength boosting gear that you would typically find on this flag set.
Yeah, I feel like by now you usually have at least 8 power shirts in your inventory, so... And Apex is going for Baron in here.
Yeah, I don't mind it, because if you route it in this way, you can go Baron in, and then let's say this is the hook. You can pick up your hovercraft or your golf cart or whatever, and then you can head right over to Eblin. So it's less in the way of footsteps, if you will, less traveling. So you don't have to keep going back and forth, back and forth. So it makes a lot of sense if that's the approach that Apex is taking here.
And he's taking out Vanilla Baron guards, I believe.
Is that our first dose of Vanilla?
I think it is.
Oh no, it's our second. We had Vanilla Eddie.
Oh, we had Vanilla Tella on Ordeals too, right?
Oh, it's true.
And we have the freest of the free bosses, King Queen Eblin here in the second Baron in spot.
As a runner, you hate to see this. As a commentator, I love to see it, because this takes Bahamut, Karate, King Queen Eblin, the guards. This is a lot of freebies out of the way early. Unfortunately, of course, the gauntlet's already gone. We would have loved to see that somewhere rude. But it's an interesting situation the runners may find themselves in. There could be some pretty rude bosses. Ogo Pogo on the hook route, Evil Wall, things like that. Like, this could shape up, even with a strong team, to be a pretty rough hook route. And there is that hook for Apex.
Yeah, I would be sweating it a little bit with like the way the bosses are getting stacked at this point. Well, we'll see how it goes.
Oh,
That
and
was an
Commander.
Excal, yeah. CommanderLeonhart just finds the Excalibur in, was that the, that was the Steelman skull chest, I believe?
Yes. The scariest of the 3 chests because it can put people to sleep. Yeah, Steelmen are rude, so boo to that.
So yeah, not a whole lot of exciting stuff in Castle Eblin today, but we did get a holy sword for the paladin. So what more do you want?
Well, what I would like is for less bosses to be on this overworld, because that is the 5th boss just hanging out. That is Asura in Mistcave.
Asura in Mistcave.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. Asuka's got to have something that she's looking to do tonight and just needs to get out of here in like an hour, maybe an hour and change, like hour 10, because that's going to be 5 bosses just hanging out on the overworld. We're down to Pale Dim, Mom Bomb, and Golbez as the only 3 we don't know. Thankfully, Golbez can't be on the hook route, so Golbez at least not going to be there. But if we have like a Mom Bomb into Pale Dim hook route, we would be in go mode when we get underground, just needing a darkness crystal or a pass. This could be a real zoomer.
Yeah, and Apex is cleaning it up a little more, just going to the waterfall and taking care of the karate there.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's a fight that he can take being here. And this is what I was saying, Commander has to double dip this. He knows it's here and he'll be back for it, of course. But this would, it's 10 or 12 seconds or so that he's, seeding over to Apex. Now, that being said, he also has an Excalibur that Apex doesn't, so he's going to make up time on every check he does from here on out that apexcorvid does not have that Excalibur.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Apex go back to Evelyn Castle and maybe find that.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. He also knows where the trap chests are from having looted it previously, so he can just hop in there, do those trap chests, and kind of carry on. But looks like he's going to hit Antlion next, which, have we seen Antlion from either runner yet?
No, we haven't. And this is just one that I love to do. I find it to be a very relaxing check. So yeah, it's quite jarring that it hasn't happened yet, but here we go on Apex's side.
Yeah, that's interesting. Normally one of the first checks that you would make, but kind of weird how these seeds shape up sometimes, because you end up doing all of these boss checks and you're getting your free characters as well, and it takes you to these, we'll say, different locations than you would normally see.
Right, the overworld routing on this flag set, it just seems like you're kind of playing connect the dots in a new way every time. I don't feel like there's one correct way to do it.
I think with a Cecil and an Edge, I definitely like going to Ordeals first. But other than that, yeah, it's kind of tough to figure out. We do see Dark Imps here, though, so our boss rush at least stops for one fight. And we might have to actually go underground now. Of course, if this is like a darkness crystal, then shame on me. But
well, we have the package, so we could potentially do another check if anyone feels like doing this long check right now.
How gambly do you feel? Because to me, the package, when you are at 5 of 7, ooh, that feels like quite the risk.
Package check never feels good. It's just always long and very gambly feeling, but when it's good, it's great.
Yeah, when it hits, you feel like you've won the lottery. When it doesn't hit, you feel like, well, you've lost the lottery, which I guess is the normal feeling.
The lottery that you have to pay them.
All right, Dark Elf. While the second form might look like Pale Dim, that is not, in fact, going to count towards our boss. So Hobbs and Antlion came up empty. What is this? I was expecting boss 6 and 7 already.
Right, I know. We'll be on the hook route.
And then we'll be off the hook for comms after that.
Right.
Over to Fabul. No fading Fabul. I was wondering if we'd get some Fabul fades here. And the reason being that Tower Key does give our runners some impetus to go underground without doing the Fabul defense. So we're not going to get that today, it looks like. But we do see Dr. Luge, which won't pose much of a problem for our runners at this junction.
No, hopefully we don't actually trigger any dialogue. This fight looks like we got through the first part fine.
Yeah, it looks like we are starting to treat Tella like the anchor he is, except he didn't fall over. So now we get venomed. Oh, we might get gassed as well. Oh, good night, Cecil. But Dr. Luge does go down. No real fight now.
We'll never see the real fight.
But let's see what we get from Fabul Defense and Commander Leonhart, hot on Apex's heels.
Deciding to do this check as well. We get the Twin Harp from the King of Fabul there.
I'm sorry, the what?
The Twin Harp?
I'm not familiar. What is that? What's it do?
Oh, man. We don't talk about the Twin Harp.
Yeah, I again, there's only 4 party members I see, and we have, I don't know, I only see 4 key items, so I'm not sure what's going on anymore. I need to go to the eye doctor.
iChart just has a Twin Harp on it.
Oh gosh. I would need all of the glasses then. And a red stapler, because I would want to burn something down too. Anyway. Apexcorvid, done with Dr. Luge, does a little bit of shopping and looting. Commander Leonhart right behind, also has an Excalibur that Apex does not. So any time that Apex spends not getting that Excalibur is time lost to Commander Leonhart at this point. And we do know that he did have that slight stumble on elements as well. So Apex looks slightly ahead at the moment, but I do think Commander is in a very small lead right now.
And it looks like Apex is setting up to go back to Evelyn Castle too, so that'll take a little time, but hopefully he finds that Excal.
Yeah, and I think he will find that. He looks like he's setting up for some cover strats with Cecil here. I'm just going to breeze through these. Has a lot of levels on the rest of his characters, so I don't foresee too much of an issue.
And Commander Leonhart is choosing to do the package check.
Yeah, this is interesting. Long check. But Commander may be saying, I've run this well so far. I haven't had any hiccups. Maybe I'm ahead enough that I can weave this in and not have to worry about it. Maybe he just wants to show everybody piggies.
I do like this move because, you know, there's nothing worse than getting to, like, late seed and realizing you forgot the package check and not quite knowing what to do. You're on the moon, and it's all the way down here, and you have an inkling that it might be a required boss. So I do like this, but it always feels really bad when it doesn't really pan out for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, this check can never pan out for you because it doesn't give a key item, but that's neither here nor there.
When I said pan, I was like, here it comes.
Yep. Hey, consistent if nothing else. speaking of consistent, Eddie is charmed with a spoon. We better hope this Lamia dies soon, or Eddie's going to carve up the team.
There we go.
No carving. That is good for Apex, because that was a little scary there for a second. There's nothing more exciting than watching Edward carve up your own team after getting charmed by a cat or a Magus sister. Yeah.
It's a unique pain. So getting into the inn here, we're going to see how this goes for Commander.
Yeah, well, by the time he's done with this, Apex will have his Excal, and then it becomes a matter of who's going to go do the Twin Harp or not. And we have the Void Piggy hanging out in bed there with the orbs. That is not required.
Right, no. Definite reset.
And you set up a save scum outside of Troya. So Commander Leonhart going to be the runner of the people today so far. Checking the package, checking the Twin Harp, going to all the places that nobody likes to go. Yeah, so that's going to be a nice little time given back to Apex if one or both of these checks does not give Commander Leonhart any bosses.
I do really appreciate the thoroughness. I like getting the checks done.
Yeah, I will say one of the things here that is a driving factor for a lot of runners is any key item check. Now, obviously the package notwithstanding on that, but any key item check when you have a tele opens up potential demachines. I don't think the Darkness Crystal for a grind is important here, but there's a real chance that if a Darkness Crystal were to show up from the Twin Harp, you never see anyone go underground. It's a very interesting situation that exists. So that would be one to look out for. And speaking of things to look out for, we just got raided by Free Enterprise 2. I believe that was the Funnel Cakes and Sorbius race. So please make sure no spoilers from that race, or we will instantly newspaper you and remove you from chat. At least temporarily, hopefully not permanently if we don't hit the wrong button. But yeah, no spoilers there. We're about 30 minutes in here. Commander Leonhart and apexcorvid. We have an Excalibur that popped out of Eblin for Commander. Apex is about to get it as well. Commander Leonhart has done the package, is on the Twin Harp, so it's up about a check and a half. That's about what we got so far, and y'all are just in time for music. So I'm going to do my best to keep talking right through it, but I think we're supposed to shut up now.
That's what I hear.
Well, I don't want anyone to hear anything, so I'm just going to keep talking until Asuka shuts off the mic or something. Like a Twin Harp, a Porum. What is all this? It's an absolute bunch of nonsense if you All right, well, I do believe that was Otherworld from Final Fantasy X, after being so rudely muted, from the Twin Harp, and the rat tail pops out, so that's interesting.
The Overworld checks continue.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Commander do that rat tail turn in and see if it gives him anything of value. If it does, that's potentially scary for Apex. If it doesn't, that puts Commander further behind, as Apex does have that Excal, has faded the package, has faded the Harp. So this is a really tense little moment here in the race. Apex also picked up, I think, or saw a cursed room, but maybe already had one from Eblin. But on his way down that hook route, we get to see who the boss is. While Commander Leonhart is heading into Troya, we are getting the Rex banner play.
Yeah, we're looking at the Magus Sisters spot on Commander's side, and we're actually seeing the Magus Sisters on Apex's side in the Ruby spot up there.
And I am joined by the fourth Magus sister in the booth today. What a time to be alive.
Yeah. There are many of us.
Too many, in fact. Don't know what to do with y'all. Just like don't use Pasado, don't use Delta Attack. Like just be nice. Like I know that's hard for y'all Magus sisters, is being nice, especially in like Final Fantasy X, which we just got music from.
We'll try.
All right, so we have Apex running on down to meet these Magus sisters. I don't think we found any mute knives, so that could be an interesting little fight here. But we do have a spoon, and we have an Excal. That is just Dark Knight Cecil, not the boss that we need.
Definite
and Commander
reset out
says
there.
no. Yeah. What would be really unfortunate for Commander is if the rat tail here turned into the Earth Crystal.
Ooh, yeah.
Hoping that doesn't happen.
It's interesting because I really like what both runners are doing because, Commander's getting his checks done. Apex just knows there's so many bosses already under the belt and wants to just face check. So I definitely get both strategies here.
Speaking of face checking, Octoman was about to face check our party.
Oh, look at that.
And the rat tails and Excal. Guess what, y'all?
Yeah.
Eblin not even required.
Wow. You can throw it. Oh
yeah,
no! Yeah. You can.
Oh yeah, you can throw that one. You can't throw the crystal sword.
Not the crystal, yeah.
But Edward is having a moment with the Octomam. They're spooning together, and Edward's gonna come out ahead on this one for sure.
And there it goes.
Of course, I don't know about cuddling octopi. That's kind of odd, but hey.
You could cuddle fish. Oh, God.
Sirens, tents. Tents. How I miss thee as a Red Moon player where we get no camping gear.
A world without tents, I just don't want to know it.
I mean, honestly, it's not too intense. Oh, Tella survives with 4 health? Get him, Tella.
Tella is just hanging on. One last Zerk.
And with a curse ring, you don't even really have to worry about putting him down now, which is pretty nice. I don't mean to speak about Tella like an old dog or something, but...
Send him to the farm. It's
Tella
kind
expert.
of... Yeah.
And whiffs the blink, or the berserk.
That's the other thing about Tella.
Just gotta believe. We're going to attempt to virus Tella here, but he has a wall up, so Tella is going to reflect a virus here for like 93 damage. This is going to be fantastic. Or he's going to die. Ooh. Magus Sisters are rude.
Always.
Yeah, Apex has the Excal going, has the spoon going, has edge swinging. Porum now on the ground, which is probably not the best situation, but it's one that Apex is going to be able to get through regardless. A lot of damage being focused on the back and middle sister here.
Yeah, you do. It would be nice to get Porum up through this and get her the experience, but yeah, I don't really see Apex having an issue.
And a little bit different strategy here from Commander Leonhart. Has Eddie in the middle, which is a lot of speed going against this Octomam. This spot has 38 agility, So going speed on speed here is a pretty interesting tactic. Hopefully this works out for him because this could get a little squirrely really fast. But Eddie takes the hit in the back row. I did not expect that to happen.
Yeah, he's hanging in there too. Look at him.
Not Tella though. All right, and that is Cindy and Octoman fading out together. So Commander Leonhart, while having done both the package and the Twin Harp, is down only a Magus Sisters fight here. Uh, Definitely making up some time here and having been more thorough. Now that said, because those checks did not pay out with anything but exactly one key item, that will help to get the grind started faster for Commander Leonhart whenever that is. But that is going to be all of the help he gets from that check. And we do see an antlion at the top of tower. I'm going to give that a big fat pass for right now and probably think that Dwarf Castle and Fame Arch are going to happen. Maybe even a half tower play, but I'm not feeling the antlion, the unrequired antlion at the top of tower.
Yeah, that's not really a boss I ever like seeing up there, even though that spot isn't generally that bad, and it is tempting to go just kind of get through it for that key item, but Antlion might be kind of a deterrent there. And looks like Apex is gonna do a little egg scrambling.
Yeah, not the worst idea here because you do have a bunch of sirens that you purchased from the Eblin shop. So you can do a couple now and do the rest later and get some levels. We have 21 sirens. You can reasonably use like 6, maybe even 8 or 10 here. And then you can use the rest of them when you get to 10 key items and they'll be more than powerful enough. And we have Commander Leonhart use that Soma drop that we started with on Tella, who gets to cast Meteo and he doesn't actually die afterwards. So that's probably a relief for exactly Tella. Who then dies anyway.
Right, there we go.
Classic
You
Tella.
got Sandy at least.
That Meteo cast, though, is going to get Commander Leonhart through this fight quite a bit quicker, actually.
That was very efficient.
Yeah, very smooth. Meteo is a good spell, y'all. Even on Tella, it did 6,000 damage, and that's Tella with no stats.
That's true. And Eddie and Cecil making pretty short work of the eggs over there.
Yeah, I do wonder on Apex's side if going with, and I don't know if we found one, an Assassin Dagger or something like that for Edge, if we had one, could be quicker here because we're not getting those one-shots. And part of this is just not having the strength here. We really want to be able to one-shot these eggs, but we're just not able to reliably do that. But I think we're probably nearing the end of this grind for Apex. Getting pretty healthy.
I think he'd be wrapping it up pretty soon. But yeah, the egg / yellow dragons have what, about 1750 HP? So yeah, it's just squeaking right under there.
Yeah, exactly 1800 actually.
1800, okay.
So yeah, it's Cecil doing like 1680, Eddie doing like 1645. That's cool, that's great damage. It's just awful damage for eggs. And Commander says, I don't care about eggs. I have the power I need. I'm gonna go take on Dwarf Castle. Commander Leonhart could get to 10 key items fairly quickly here if like a pan shows up in Dwarf or via the warp glitch which is on. And you want to explain a little about what that warp glitch is?
Sure. So after you are done with the bosses behind the throne here, you can warp before you talk to Luca and Giot there. And you end up in the crystal room in the Luca cave, and you can grab that item, walk out the door, and end up back in Dwarf Castle. So it's a little neat trick. You can pick up an extra key item. It's not a boss check, but it can, it can be quite a big help, and it can, sort of influence like how you feel about the Luca cave check later.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you one thing that I feel strongly about, and that is how much I dislike Golbez almost anywhere, but
Yeah,
especially at
there he
Dwarf
is.
1.
Yeah.
Um,
Just slightly off
Ew.
center to where he's supposed to be, but so much worse.
Yeah, French vanilla, and this is one of the worst French vanillas as well. Golbez at Dwarf 2 is, I mean,
He's fine there.
easy.
Yeah.
Golbez here, the magic is very high at this spot because in vanilla, the programmers, the developers, wanted the glance spell and the rest of the spells from the big doll to actually deal damage, or to actually hit, not to deal damage. So they wanted it to land. And as a result, the magic power here is very high, which means this Golbez, if we don't get Veils up, is going to do bad things to this party. And unfortunately, we lost probably the two best people to keep alive in Cecil and Edge here.
And it looks like, yeah, those Star Veils, Eddie's got one going up here. But yeah, it's rough because it really softens your party up for the next battle too. So even though the next spot is nowhere near as difficult, you are kind of going into it, with, in this case, two of your strong characters down.
Yeah, now, interestingly, on Apex's side, he actually has a Cecil that can walk off a virus here.
Yeah.
That he has about 2,200 health on Cecil. Now, that also is predicated upon Cecil actually living, but that gives him a potential leg up on making this a slightly less spooky fight. Now, for Commander, the second fight here, yeah, could be a little bit sketchy as well, with only Eddie and Porum alive. But we do see Apex getting into this Golbez fight, and there's a Sparkle. If this is Wyvern...
Yeah, Wyvern would really be nasty here.
Okay, just Lunars, which, if we're just attacking, is also a little scary. Okay,
we're good.
We one-shot. That's important. Because if you don't one-shot there, the viruses don't hurt too much here, but you still don't really want Edward at like 200 health being the guy who's trying to tank a virus.
Eddie pulls through yet again, and we are through the D-Lunars on Commander's side.
Yeah, good to get through that, and we'll see if Apex is able to get through Dwarf Castle all the same. Now, having ceded back the lead to Commander temporarily, at least by virtue of having done that grind, but we do see both Cecil and Edge going down on his side as well. So Golbez being consistent, if nothing else.
It's an unfortunate duo to have get demolished there. And Eddie takes the...
Well, that's great. That's the 50-50 being won for Apex, which is huge here. So he is going to be through. Now, the second fight here is also going to be a little spooky for Apex because he's only going to have potentially Cecil at low health and Porum as the surviving members of his party. And we see CommanderLeonhart doing that work glitch that you so eloquently explained earlier and getting a white shirt.
Nice item, not a key item, but I do like white mage gear, so yep, he's putting it right on Porum.
Yeah, now worth noting, the Dwarf Castle check itself gave the Earth Crystal. That's a feels bad for Commander, because he already did Zot 1. It's going to be slightly more beneficial for apexcorvid. It does only put us at 7 key items. You were really hoping to hit a double there if you're in Commander's shoes to get you closer to 10, since no grind has been done yet. So this is where Apex is actually going to end up picking up some time back on Commander by virtue of having his Holy Sword, his levels, unless, of course, Cecil dies here, but he is going to be able to walk off these fires or just dodge them altogether.
Yeah, that sword is definitely doing work, and Apex is through the D-Lunars now.
Now, through the D-Lunars, we see some coffins hanging out in Feymarch. We also saw the Adamant Rock, so we're going to call that French vanilla as well, because if I recall correctly, the rat tail comes from there and then gives the Adamant Rock. Interesting to see what we do here, because we are still shy Zeromus access, so even if there's a required boss here, we don't have a way to the end. And we don't have a required boss here,
Yeah.
but we have at least a freebie in the guards. Now that Ruby, on the other hand, that is not a fun spot for Ruby.
No. Looks like Commander is probably setting up to do, yeah, at least the guards. There are coffins, so this should not be an issue at all.
Yeah, and thankfully this is the less punchy guards. Although they are getting to go first, and that is a little bit scary. But they do not punch edge,
they're not
which is
hitting
good.
that hard, yeah. And with the officer down, the soldiers just kind of get confused, and this battle is basically over.
And we did life glitch for a little bit of extra XP there. And I did not catch it. Did Apex warp glitch?
I actually did not catch that either.
I do hope he did.
Yeah, we'll see. I do see a white robe in his inventory, so
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that came from anywhere else. So
Okay, good. It's not the biggest deal, but a white shirt is still a white shirt. It's the best Porum equipment, basically, for the end game. So thank you to our tracker, JBurnTR, for pointing that out. And of course, just thank you to him in general, and thank you to Asuka, both of them doing fantastic jobs behind the scenes. Always great to have them helping out. And of course, to our runners, CommanderLeonhart and apexcorvid, putting on a heck of a show for everybody. And last but not least, of course, my co-commentator.
well,
Her
thank you very
first time on
much.
comms.
Yeah.
I wasn't done yet. Your first time on comms. I'm shouting you out big time. First time on comms and acting and doing the job of an expert. You're a natural at this. You should come back and do it more.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I'm having a lot of fun, and thanks everybody. I believe Leonhart got the Luca key from those from the officer and soldiers there.
He did, and this is a check at the boss only down here, because we did the warp glitch and got our complimentary white shirt. So this is Commander Leonhart doing this just for a boss peak only, which is in line with how he's been playing the seed to this point. Having checked the package, having checked Zot 1 already. So this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, again, I do like the thoroughness. You don't have to worry later on.
And we shall see what that boss is momentarily. We see Apex now having picked up his rock here, going to likely purchase some coffins. No, says
Yeah,
no
no.
coffins for me.
Yeah.
We may be seeing him make a return trip to buy those coffins in about 30 seconds. Or we won't.
Not doing it. Apex is definitely just looking for bosses at this point. Definitely don't blame him.
Yeah, Apex is searching the most likely places, I think, for Darkness Crystal, although it is really hard to pass up a free fight, at least in my eyes.
Yeah, definitely. And it's, I'm not a big fan of the Feymarch check, but you always have to wonder, especially if Darkness hasn't shown up yet. Like, is it back there? Ugh.
And I think right now we only have 4 locations we have access to that Darkness could be. Tapa Tower, Super Cannon Room, Tower of Zot, and Sheila 1. I think those are the only places we have remaining that could potentially have our Darkness Crystal at this point from the information we have gained.
Did Leonhart, he did not check Azura's spot though, right?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that could be there as well.
That ruby at Asura is probably last location.
Yeah.
At least in my eyes, is last location. That's a little bit of a scary one.
Yeah, I don't blame the fade there.
Yeah, that's not a fight that you really want to take on. Now this fight though, that is a Val that is not very hard, and that's a good thing for our runners.
You never hate seeing Val there.
Also worth noting, we've seen a lot of key items, and we're yet to see my favorite key item.
Well,
or my
that?
second favorite key item. I have two.
Your favorite is the pan, right?
No, my favorite is the sad ruby.
Oh,
my second favorite is the magma key.
Oh,
those are my two favorites.
You know, you never hate seeing those.
But we do have Antlion happening for Commander Leonhart first. I do like this routing on his part. Not that it really makes a difference going keyless tower versus tower key first, but I like this because even if you get a 7th boss out of the super cannon, are you really just walking down and leaving this up here and not hunting darkness still?
Yeah,
so I like just doing this first.
I tend to want to do this first too. It's, you know, there's not really a right or wrong way to do it, but again, I do like the thorough check. So
yeah, and worth noting after all this time that our runners have spent doing various different things, here we are slapping away at old googly eyes here at the top of the tower.
We've converged. Look at that face.
That's a face only a mother could love. Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say the extra health and extra levels on Apex's side, this will be a much smoother fight for him. He has Cure 3 on Porum instead of just Cure 2, which makes quite a difference as well.
Those counters are definitely stingy, but they're not terrible here.
Yeah, they're a lot more manageable on Apex's side than they are on Commander's side. So we see like that edge already down to 270 health, whereas, well, sorry, 102 health. Whereas on Apex's side, his characters outside of Eddie are in a much better place.
Yeah.
Oh, well, and then Eddie died, so,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And Commander is through.
Well,
ooh, there's the darkness crystal.
So yeah, I think we are about to see Commander Leonhart crack a bunch of eggs. That's 10 key items for him. And moon access. I do think we will still see him do this tower key check. But that is the darkness crystal that both of our runners are certainly looking for. But at this point, you have to say, big advantage Commander, because he is at 10 key items, whereas Apex is only at 8. So while it seems like we're only about 15 seconds apart, even less by the time Commander's going to be done with this this tower key, the grind time that Commander's going to make up, even having done the extra sealed cave dive, the the guard fight, Zot 1, Twin Heart, package, all of those extra checks in Commander's still going to be I think slightly ahead post-grind here.
Yeah, definitely.
Now that all being said...
see how the moon treats us, right?
Well, where's boss 7? Where's boss 8?
Exactly.
And, you know, if you get like a mom bomb that punches the wrong targets, and it's at, let's say, sealed, value cave, all bets are off. It's kind of who gets luckier.
Mm-hmm. We're about to see the key item here on Apex's side. And we're getting the beloved Enterprise back.
The best airship.
And we have an Artemis bow.
Yeah, that is not great for Apex, because that is still going to leave him at only 8 key items. But he may also be saying, you know what? I don't have all the levels I want, but I have most of them. So it could be a situation where Apex is good with his levels and just wants to make some checks. We will see him doing the full Tower of Zot before going to the moon, though. So maybe trying to only go to the moon in the event of a boss being up there. Maybe trying to hit a boss here and hit a pass or something like that. Or
And he's going
gonna
for the treasury here.
yeah, we get to play chat's favorite game where everything is certainly going to be Kane out of 10 because he's not in the seat.
Right.
That was decidedly
Yeah,
not this party
yeah.
out of 10.
This is Stardust out of 10 there.
Yeah. I mean, the life staff is cool to go with the white shirt. The Stardust rods don't do anything. There were no tier 8s. There were arty
Yeah.
arrows. There was a glass hat.
The life staff, it's so useful, but it's kind of like the vegetables of free enterprise where you're like, I mean, it's useful and I will use it and it's nutritious, but it's not very exciting.
I mean, I do love me some tomatoes, but that treasure was more potatoes than tomatoes.
Tomatoes are a fruit.
Yeah, whatever, man. So we have apexcorvid headed up Zod here. We have CommanderLeonhart. I think is going Sheila 1. There we go. Okay. And going to take a look and see what this check gives us. We know that on Apex's side, we're about to see Dark Knight Cecil. Who is the second boss here? That is going to be a very interesting situation. And for Apex, there's a real world where if the second boss is a bust here, you immediately reset. And you don't even worry about the key item. You just say, I'm gone. Now, Commander keeps the Legend Sword.
Yeah, you know, Forge is a tempting thing, but you're not guaranteed to get a weapon that is appropriate for your party, so we'll see if Commander decides to fade that. But he did keep it.
I personally am hoping for an Abel's Lance because it is my favorite of the Supersmith weapons. And there's no Kane.
And there's no Kane.
It also might be worth it for CommanderLeonhart having the Forge now to go take a look and see if there's ninja swords or Murasames or something for that edge, to play with out of the Forge shop. Even if the Forge itself is garbage, just having access to better weaponry could really help out here. But let's see if Commander is going to do Zot. He was shopping in Troya here. Appears he is going to finish out Zot now. So this is going to be his second dive here. Do we get another Rate That Treasury? We are going to. Nice. I don't know if we get the audio for the second one. I don't remember.
We've already rated the treasury.
Well, let's rate it again.
Yeah, getting an inventory boss moment here on Commander's side with the treasury. That always hurts a little bit.
And we also get to play chat's new favorite game. And that is Rate That Piggy, because we are going to get piggy meta time here. What color are the ears? Those look like white ears to me.
Yeah.
That could be pale dim because sparkles are white ears. Mom Bomb would be yellow.
Okay.
So
see, I'm getting them mixed up all the time.
That's fine. It could also be Wyvern.
Oh boy.
Could be Ogo? I don't think we've seen any of the sparkles really yet.
No plague either, right? Oh, it's
Odin.
Okay. So not a required boss here in Zot.
Yeah, and I do wonder, like in Apex's shoes, as soon as you see the key item pop out here, if it's not like exactly Baron Key, you just reset and carry on. It's very interesting to see what the approach is going to be here.
And Apex is through the Odin, so we're gonna see if this check is fruitful at all.
You wanted to say pans out.
I wanted to say tomato pull, actually.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't. Or I did just now.
I like it. I approve. 10 out of 10. All right, and we have Commander Leonhart is going to make his second trip up the Tower of Zot, going to heal up his party. Again, worth noting, we haven't really had a grind on Commander's side, while Apex does have that level advantage, and right now is ahead on checks. Just a Zeus Gauntlet.
I would want to keep that.
Yeah, I think that's worth keeping. It's plus 10 strength. It is giant protection. You can't be sized as well. So it's really not the worst pickup. But it is not what Apex wanted. I have to imagine here we are off to the moon on Apex's side. He has faded the Feymarch. He has faded the Twin Harp, the package. And I think he has to stick to those guns that, if those were the required spots, he might see Commander typing already, like a done upcoming. So I think his read is correct on the seed, that you kind of just have to go moon here.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely, getting to be that time where you're wondering really what route your opponent took, where they're at with it, and if you need to just start like putting pedal to the metal with it.
Yeah, I think I like Apex's routing a little bit better on this so far than Commander's. But Commander has played this for only being, half a check behind. With all the extra stuff he has been doing, it's one of those situations where he has been extraordinarily thorough and extraordinarily quick. But for this seed, it just hasn't been the right answer. So it's very interesting how these work, where some of them, some of these seeds playing thorough works out. Some of them it doesn't, and they're all kind of crapshoots. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one finishes out for sure.
Right. It makes the game really interesting because there's just no one right way to roll through it, and perfect play in one seed can be an absolute disaster in another. So looks like Apex found some Bacchus lines on the moon there.
Yeah, in honor of E-Ninja, I would be selling enough to have 250,000 in cash here, so I could buy 50 Bacchus wines. That is my meme I love.
You can just roll around in them.
But we're just going to get 20 here. I say just 20 while we have one boss and Zeromus left, basically. But and double dancing dagger edge. Get him, buddy.
Yeah, do it.
That's an edge that exists. That's about all I can say.
He is there.
Good thing we took that Eddie, huh?
Oh, yeah. I don't think anyone's really regretting that. And Apex is going to check out the little value cave.
Yeah, I like the routing here. This is the only visible boss, meaning that you can see this boss before you fight it on the lunar subterranean or on the moon proper, if you will. So I think this is always a good spot to start. And kind of go from there. And we do see on Apex's side a turtle, which is no.
Not required. That's a no.
That is getting added to the list of last locations for probably both runners once Commander sees it as well.
Yeah, once you finish Lunar Subterrane, if nothing's like panned out there, then you really kind of hate going back in there, but...
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if neither boss is here and neither boss is on the giant. The potential exists for exactly Baron Key to be gating our last two bosses.
You could have the Baron Basement and Baron Throne, which, yeah, it's possible.
What we know at this moment is that it's statistically unlikely. However, as bosses have taught us, and more importantly, as Fusoya has taught us so far in this tournament, a lot of things that should be statistically improbable keep happening. So, yeah, we might ultimately be on a Baron Key hunt. Who knows? It'll be very interesting to see where Pale Dim and Mom Bomb are.
That Baron Key, I mean, it just seems to be so consequential in both Red and Blue Moon. I don't know why. Oh, there's a wyvern there at the Mursame spot. So, nope.
What? We don't want to fight Wyvern on
Yeah.
the moon? Come on. Okay, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
Unless we had a Rydia with a Dragon Whip, that might change my mind.
Would you just do it in that case?
No, I just wanted to say Rydia.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think anything of it.
I know. It's just normal conversation.
It's just regular talk.
Yeah, so apexcorvid now, as Chad is pointing out, we've also added Wyvern to the list of things we're not going to fight. So Apex has a very long laundry list at this point of bosses that he's not going to fight. If the bosses aren't up here, at what point do we start fighting the things we didn't want to fight, and in what order?
Yeah, this is always, you know, when things start feeling a little dicey for me is, do I full clear moon in this case? You know, I mean, you kind of have to, but in what order? When do you stop? You know, you hit that Baron Key, are you done? There's like a lot of questions that go through your head when you're up here in this kind of situation.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what the choice ends up being for Apex. If there are no bosses here, does he leave a save up here on the moon and then go check Giant? Or does he just start clearing out the bottom of the moon? So it'll be really curious to me to see what his approach is. While we see Commander doing some shopping, I think got some life potions there. Maybe also looking for Cure 3s, I'm not 100% certain. But delaying that trip up to the moon just a little bit longer. So the longer he waits to get to the moon, the more potential danger there is here. Well, let's again add another boss to the list.
Nope. And D-Mist does not give a key item in this flag set, so no reason to fight that.
Nope, D-Mist just punches you in the face really, really hard.
It takes a long time.
Yeah, so, and also Strong vs. Holy, which, yeah, consequentially, excuse me, is what we have as our primary damage. Even with a spoon, Excal Cecil with a Zeus Gauntlet still going to deal more damage. So that's another spooky fight you don't really want to play with. So to the bottom of the Lunar Subterranean we go for Apex, and to Agert we go for Commander Leonhart. He is shopping fiercely for something.
Is it Tensen Cabins, I'm wondering, because I sometimes do this too. Yes, there they are. Oh, they're Starveils. Okay.
30 Starveils, that's a number.
Okay. See, I would have bought 30 cabins personally. I love them.
Alright, well, we're getting
Starveils.
Like 24 Starveils. That is a very, very large number, given that we have Mom Bomb and Pale Dim left. And speaking of Mom Bomb, oh boy, we have found the Mom Bomb.
Was that at White Spear?
I believe so. I was so enthralled in Commander shopping. I missed that Mom Bomb was here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, here we are.
This is Ribbon Room, according to chat. Thank you, chat. Best chat. Paying attention while we are not.
Yeah,
so
I know.
This is an interesting one because Mom Bomb actually has less health here than the normal enemies would. The way that Mom Bomb's script works, it's something like 65% of the health, then it starts the explode phase. So realistically, you're only doing what? Quick math on stream. 29 to 30,000 plus the 9,000. You're doing like 38,000 total instead of 42. So Mom Bomb actually is an easier boss here than the majority of bosses.
And you are going to get quite a bit of experience from this fight in the Ribbon Room as well, so you never really hate having to do it.
Unfortunately not. because
Oh,
it
because
splits.
it's the split. Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, 40K
Well,
for apexcorvid. Boo.
yeah, that's
Is in go mode though.
lackluster. But yeah, here we are in go mode on Apex's side.
There is the crystal. 9 key items right now. Glass hat. Pass. Oh, we have 9 key
Pass.
items and a pass.
Hmm.
You
Now,
could
did anyone
really...
pick up any Hourglass 2s anywhere?
I don't know, but Apex is not saving. So this makes me think we might be doing some gold dragons.
That's what I'm wondering here. Yep.
This is a little scary.
Yeah, there was no save here before, and there are.
Oh, we do have hourglass.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Calm
down.
I mean this is really scary without hourglasses.
Yeah. Oh
honestly.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You get entangled, you get blitzed, you die.
Yes.
Yeah, 9 key item grind though never feels good. So if Commander is able to get this Mom Bomb down, I don't know that he has enough time to catch up, but we could at least see dueling Z fights if that's the case. I just don't know that there's enough time left with Apex already being in go mode.
Right, and Commander says no to Wyvern.
And we also have to see how far Apex takes this grind, because it is worth noting that while we do have a ton of power, we don't have a ton of health. Eddie, still under 1,000. Porum, at 1,400, exists. Cecil, yeah, and we have Edge, who's a potato, basically. He has no good weapons at all. He's got, like, double dancing dagger.
I think double dancing dagger is still right, yeah. Oh, Edge.
Like, it's so brutal. The lack of edge gear that we found this seed.
It's not normal. That's not normal.
We've gotten, what, an Artemis bow and Artemis arrows, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Would have been better off with Sid over Edge.
No.
On Blue Moon. Who'd have thunk it?
It's just not the way you want to think it.
Yeah, I don't think you can ever make that call. That would be absolutely 5-head, giga brain, like all of that stuff.
Right.
Looks like that's going to do it for Apex's grind. Is exiting out?
Now, is it actually quicker to take the pass or just walk it down when you're down there?
I would very much so argue in the pass's favor in this case, because if you think there is a shadow of a doubt that you could wipe to Z, you want to have the pass in your hand and you want to go in through the pass door. If you are ultimately confident that there will be no wipe whatsoever, you just go through the lunar subterranean. So it's one of those situations where it's faith-based more than anything.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
But yeah, we do see Apex basically changing his battle speed, going to 2. Checking one more time to see if he has anything relevant for Edge. He actually says, let me take your headband, because you don't have weapons, and let me give it to someone.
You're not using that.
We have Porum getting geared up so that she can maybe survive some things, which she has made a name for herself in this tournament doing such.
She's still swinging the staff, it looks like, too, which I hadn't noticed until this moment.
Yeah, and I think we have a white shirt somewhere in there as well, so I would like to see that white shirt instead of the Sork robe, but hey, I know what we are going to see soon, because we already have some Z flags in chat, and Flossie, it is your first time on commentary, which means you got some splaining to do.
Oh boy. Well, you know, I've heard, I'm new to this, but I've heard that there's a but we don't know what but. And we don't know how we're going to beat it, but we know that it will be beat. So what but are we going to beat? That's the question.
Whether 'tis nobler... Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah. Look at the scroll out.
But yeah, I guess it is that time to see
It's
who
that time.
Zeromus is cosplaying as tonight. Any favorites of yours?
Oh boy, I do like technical difficulties most.
Oh, Standby
Yeah,
Mus?
standby
Yeah.
must quite a bit. There's so many that I'm still surprised, like, oh, I've never seen that one. And then you have weeks where you get the same one 3 times. So we'll see who we end up with tonight.
Yeah, I think in ZZ4, Kaibamus was like the mascot for a ZZ4, if I remember right.
Oh yeah,
Just kept showing up over and over
that's
again.
right. I do remember that actually.
So I don't think we have a mascot yet for ZZ5, but I don't know that I've seen any sprite twice so far.
I don't think so. Yeah.
But we have
And
a crystal throne and a
yep,
Bacchus drink, and yeah, let's see. Does
going
it have a
for it.
hat? Is it cute?
Is the hat cute?
Ooh, is the hat cute? Ooh. Does the butt have a hat? Does the hat have a butt? Meanwhile, Commander Leonhart also in go mode.
In go mode over there. And
Oh, is
wow,
that Spat? Yeah,
I'm not sure what
Spatamus.
this little guy is.
A very angry little Z sprite.
Yeah. I've personally found that the goofy ones really give me a lot of trouble, so I'm wishing Apex luck here.
I think he'll be okay. There's going to be so much damage coming out from this
Sure.
team,
Yeah.
even with that silly Edge who couldn't figure out how to find a weapon. Um, he is still going to deal quite a bit of damage, and we have Commander joining Apex on the blue planet, at least for now, revisiting Mysidia, maybe picking up an anchor.
Yeah, looks like
But
he's
checking something here. Well, everybody knows it. Everybody loves it. You got a bard in your party. It's getting hit by the nuke, y'all. Every time.
Oh yeah. You just have to accept it.
It's supposed to be a 1 in 5. It's like it's a 1 in 2. It's a 50-50. It either happens or it doesn't. So that's of no surprise whatsoever.
Ella trying his best to do a Cure 4 on Eddie over there. Ooh, and then the Big Bang comes out.
Yeah, Eddie's corpse will get cure forward, which will do exactly nothing.
Right.
Goodbye, Tella. Goodbye, Edward. Hello,
Now-
Edge.
Is Purim has Cure 4 at this point, right?
Yes, that was what
Yeah.
Apex was grinding
Right,
to, was
okay.
Cure 4. Yeah. And we have Commander Leonhart making his final descent on Troya as well. But we're going to see a wildly different strategy here. We're going 1200 strats, I believe, or some iteration thereof, maybe with some zerking to start, and kind of when Eddie dies type deal. Maybe try to peel the spoon off of him to dart as well. But this is going to be a very different Zeromus fight on Commander's side. Going to be a lot of Star Veils, going to be a lot of Cure 3s, many different things that you're going to see on that side versus Apex Corvids, which is me drink wine, me go burr, me hit things.
Apex Corvid is a man after my own heart with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy mode, right?
Right.
Bacchus, controller
Exactly.
down. Don't have to
Uh-huh.
think about it. We're doing fairly appreciable damage on Apex's side. I think we'd have skipped the second Big Bang if Eddie didn't get bopped to start the fight,
Yeah, definitely.
which is a little unfortunate, but I think he's still making
We're
great
still
time
rolling
through
it.
this.
Mm-hmm.
We are not nerfing, though. That's the rocks
No.
tip, so we are Big Bang into rocks. I think Cecil carries this. Edge probably lives this as well. Porum almost certainly dies here.
Eddie, goodbye. Yeah.
Oh, Eddie's gone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Porum
Ooh,
decided I'm not dying. I'm
Wow.
too good for death because
That
that is what
feels-
Porum does.
that feels amazing. Yeah, great.
And that's it. Edge with his dancing daggers because of course
Yeah.
gets
Yep.
the final
It's
shot
the-
in.
Yep, exactly.
GG's to
GG's,
Apex Corvid.
Apex Corvid.
The
Wonderfully
Birdman
done.
does it. Yeah.
Yep.
and we will see if we can get apexcorvid in for an interview. Our official race spot time of 1:26:34, our winner this evening. And I believe with that dinging in our ears, we are joined by Apex. GG's to you, Birdman.
GG's, Apex.
Thank you. Oh, I'm still shaking from that one.
Yeah, go ahead, Flossie.
Oh, I was just gonna say, well run. It felt like you just had a plan. You were going for those face checks. How did you feel about the seed?
The start was really shaky. I spent too much time in Eblin. I bounced off of elements, so that had me a little nervous. But I calmed down and just executed. I got a route that I do, and if I stick to the script, it goes well. And the trick is, if you get the sirens early, just get strong enough, and then you don't have to worry about what you bump into.
Right, feels totally good to see those sirens.
Yeah,
it was a huge relief, especially not having gear.
Yeah, those sirens helped you out quite a bit, actually. They made your trip through Dwarf Castle a lot easier. They made your trip up to Tower a lot easier. It was a major difference between you and Commander on this, was you took that early grind and you were really able to power through things. The big question I have for you is about some of your key fades, and there were quite a number of them on this seed. Twin Harp, Package, both bosses in the Fey March, Sheila, like you faded quite a few things, and then obviously skipping the bosses on the moon, which by the way were all gross. Can you take us through kind of your mentality of what you picked to fade and why?
Well, until I got that Darkness Crystal, Sheila 1 was going to be it. In Fey March, I saw who the bosses were. There wasn't a lot left on the plate. We already had, I think at that point we were at 5 or 6. So really, I was in face check mode once we got that close, and it was about finding the quantity of checks. If I had better gear, I would have faded Zot as well and gone Moon first. But I was just hoping for something out of that treasury, and I got a good chuckle out of what turned up.
Yeah, the loot was definitely a little light on this seed. We were noticing that, because usually, Edge, for example, always has amazing gear, whether or not you have him in your party. So.
Yeah, you didn't want to dual wield Stardust Rods with Edge?
If I could, I would.
Throw them.
Yeah, working with those dancing daggers was pretty comical. But at that point, it was more about clogging the queue than anything else.
Hey, he got the final hit.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I'm helping. Good job, Edge.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, buddy.
So as far as some other things in the seed, you did that early Eblin that you kind of referenced, and then you went back to it. With a Cecil, obviously kind of the meta play is doing Eblin to try to find that Holy Sword. Was that really what you were hunting there, or were you looking for anything else as well?
No, it was Excalibur Crystal Sword. Anything else, great, but if I would have got the Excalibur in the first trap, I would have called it good there.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. That would have been your second big power spike after finding the spoon. And speaking of that spoon, how happy were you to see that spoon show up early with that Eddie?
I'd still be running the seed if I didn't have that. I was planning on trying to prop Rydia up and buy Leviathan. Rydia with Leviathan and Bahamut even better, but she does so much work, and it would have been nice to have a black mage this seed, but once the spoon popped, it was instant damage.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. Well, you are on to, I believe, the round of 16 now, the Sweet 16, as it were. Anything that you are looking forward to opponent-wise? Anything you're looking to change up in your gameplay? Just how are you feeling in general about this great run through the tournament so far?
Well, I didn't expect to get this far. I'm happy to be here. As far as what I'm looking forward to, is round of 16, that's the best of 3 at that point, right?
That's a great question, one that I should know. I don't think the best of 3 starts until the round of 8. Yeah, the round of 8 is when the best of 3 start, now that I'm looking at it. Because again, I should know this stuff already, but I don't, so.
Wonderful. One more to get there, huh?
Yep.
Well, you
Each
played
one harder than the
wonderfully.
last.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
such a challenge to get this far, and yeah, it's great to see you play.
I sure appreciate that, and I'm sure both of y'all put on some good comms. You're both extremely entertaining and just awesome. So I was thrilled when I saw who was in the comms booth here.
Well, thanks. It was a lot of fun to comment on your run.
Oh, I'm sure there was no shortage of things to comment about. There were a couple of wacky moments.
We all
There
have
always
wacky
are.
moments. Yep.
Yeah, well, once again, GG's Apex, very well run. Looking forward to see you in that round of 16. And the floor is yours, my friend, for any final thoughts or any final words.
Really, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's putting this tournament on. I mean, effectively, there's 4 independent tournaments being run right now. And that's a lot of tracking, that's a lot of restreaming, that's a lot of admin, that's a lot of comments going on. So it's just, it's been amazing seeing all the races, catching the show that everybody's putting on for us. So Asuka, Flossie, Possum, and Jabron, thank you so much for putting on the show. We would do this any day of the week, but having y'all do the stream, do the comments, everything, it's been a fantastic tournament. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Apex.
Yeah, thank you, Apex, and once again, GG's to you, and good luck in the next round.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks. Well, that was apexcorvid, our winner this evening, again in an official time of 1:26:34. Moving on to the round of 16, we have some notable things that have happened, both via the spoiler log and on Commander Leonhart's side. So if y'all have never seen Eddie strats before, this is probably not something you're going to see too often, if ever again, on Blue Moon flags.
Yeah.
So, Flossie, would you like to explain what's happening here, or would you like me to take a shot at
I'd
this?
love to explain this, but I've never tried it, and I don't know that I'd be the best one. I'm kind of just like watching in awe a little bit.
All right, so I'll go ahead and explain this in just a second, because there is one thing we have to get to first. We pointed out that turtle that was hanging out in Value Cave. It had a pan. The pan bonk led to the magma key, which means, y'all, if we'd have fought that turtle and turned on that pan, we would have been able to get underground.
Wow. That, you know, would have changed everything.
It really would have. That's a bonus say that line just for chat, so you're welcome, everybody. Now, to actually explain what is happening on Commander Leonhart's side, basically, Commander Leonhart is going to kill Zeromus with Edward and Edward alone. There was a little bit of chip damage that happened beforehand, where we're trying to get Zeromus to about, 45,000 health, and then deal no more direct damage. What we do is we hide Edward at that point from any big bang. We pop him back out. We see a reflected virus coming out as Z hits himself in the face, or Spatamus hits itself in the face, whatever's happening. We use the crystal or some other trigger that will cause a counter nuke, but will not deal direct damage. So that could be things like echo notes, antidotes, stuff like that. Don't use a heal potion, because that'll actually remove the slows that have been applied from the Silk Web, so don't do that. But what we see is a black hole comes out, a star veil goes up, and then the next time Eddie gets a turn here, he has another action he can take, which is to throw the crystal. And you just repeat this process. The next thing that's going to happen, Edward is going to hide, because Zeromus is going to shake. So you rinse and repeat this until you get to 61,000 damage dealt to Z, and Eddie can do all this by himself, but it's generally easier to have some help. So that's what we're doing here, and Commander Leonhart is very well versed in how all of this works, knows the timing, knows the sequencing, and I have no doubts he'll be able to get through this. I don't know when he'll get through it, because this takes quite a while to do, but I have to imagine that this is part he probably felt super behind after doing all those checks, and then part he's playing to the crowd and playing to Asuka. because he was very thorough with the package, the Zot 1 check, Twin Harp, etc. You can't help but feel behind, so I think he may have been doing this just to give everyone something to watch that you probably won't see, but maybe once or twice in this tournament, which is really cool.
Now, how hard is it, do you feel, to get the timing down for this strat?
Once you're used to it, it's not hard at all. Learning it, it's a pain.
Sure.
Yeah, learning 1200 strats, actually getting it under your belt where you know the sequence that Z is doing, where you know the actions that are being taken, the actions that are being input. Also, some of the minor things, like Eddie here having the spoon instead of having a bow and arrow on or a harp. What you're doing is you want to make sure you don't have anything where when you press the down arrow, the sing command is available. So you immediately press down and go right to hide. If you have a harp on, you can sing. Singing is really bad because then you're not hiding and then you're dying. So even little things like that Commander's got set up here is really, really good. He's doing a fantastic job of managing this fight.
And generally, how long do these take? And what would be, the best time to do them?
Typically, if you have no access to sirens, if you have no access to a grind of any sort, but you have an Edward with relative agility 1, it's pretty easy. But in this case, I don't think this is optimal because we have 10 key items and sirens available. To answer the question of how long it takes, it really depends how much damage you get out early. Because if you do the full 61,000 with just Edward, it takes about 20 or so minutes.
Sure.
If you're doing more damage earlier than that, even let's say you have like an edge you can life up and dart, like the spoon as a finishing blow, that takes off 10k at the end, right? So you can cut it by 3 or 4 cycles, which is like 2 minutes. So it just depends on how you do it. If you zerk ahead of time, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And also, as Chad is mentioning, a silk web is vitally important to it. 1 silk web applies 2 stacks of slow, and that is the maximum amount of slows that can be applied to any enemy in the game, unless it already has fast applied to it. In Zeromus' case, it'll never have fast on, so you just silk web once, it's double slowed, can't get any slower than that, and you have this really nice sequencing you can do with Battle Speed 3, Eddie strats, and you just kind of go from there. So that's what we're seeing in action here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see it in a race, honestly.
Yeah, no, I will say, if all you're seeing are Edward strats or 1200 strats, it gets a little repetitive.
Sure.
It's still a good test of skill to see who can manage it the fastest, especially when like Fusoi is involved and you have to figure out how many nukes do I do, how many other actions do I do, versus just reflecting am I at battle speed 3 or 6 or whatever. It's one of those things where the optimizations that go into it are very interesting. And to note from chat, it is correct that antidotes are faster than crystals. Anything that makes that heal animation is faster than a crystal. Crystal is a very, very long animation.
And this is just kind of one of those things that you probably will use very little, I'm thinking, but it's good to have it under your belt.
Yes,
Just
much like
thinking,
so many things.
Right.
Yeah, like 1200 strats are really cool to have in your pocket. Eddie strats are great to have. It's just not going to be a very common thing, especially in a flag set where you're hunting bosses. It's extraordinarily unlikely you'll have a pass available on the Overworld, and all 7 bosses like pre-hook and Edward is actually the answer. Don't get me wrong, it could happen. Literally anything can happen on these flag sets. But it's extraordinarily improbable.
It's a good thing to know too, because there's a lot of times in a race where you're in go mode and you're maybe not as leveled as you want to be. So it's good to have these things that you can kind of rely on, depending on the situation, to get you through, even if you're not necessarily like as beefy as you want to be too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a situation where you have to get through it. And, in this case, maybe Commander's like, I want to put on a show, and this is a heck of a show. Because, again, we're probably not going to get to see it. So.
Yeah, no, I know.
Well,
yep. Oh, there we go. Yep.
Yeah.
GG's to Commander.
Yeah, and Commander finishing second place in this race, but first place in our hearts for that fantastic display of what I would call hybrid Eddie strats.
Yeah.
Doing an amazing job with it, and we'll see if we can get him in for an interview as well, because it was in fact a fantastic little race that our runners put on. Two wildly different paths ultimately led to convergence at Antlion at top of tower, and then kind of diverged again. But yeah, we'll wait for Commander to pop in, and then see if we have anything to say to him. And he is here with us. GG's to you, Commander Leonhart.
GG's, Commander Leonhart.
Thank you both.
Well, burning question has to be, Eddie strats, you love them. We love to see them.
Sure.
Did you think that you were just so far behind that you were just going to do that kind of, as an homage to Asuka, or to play for the crowd, or, what was kind of your thoughts?
My thought was that I had next to no gear. I still had Edge rocking twin silver knives. I had an X-Cal, and it was either grind, pour them up to the point of power a couple strats, go back down to earth and do eggs, and just let them grind up until I felt Porum could survive an unnerfed Big Bang and go with that. Or just do Eddie strats. Grind to power at that levels, probably a little bit faster, but close enough that I was like, you know what, we'll do Eddie strats. I wanted to do them a lot earlier. Like, the moment I got to Mist Cave and saw Boss 4 and knew Boss 5 was in Waterfall, I'm like, just give me 2 more bosses. Just give me 2 more bosses. Like, give me 2 bosses underground, and then give me Darkness or Pass. We won't even go underground. We're going to go fight Z at 30 minutes. Let's do this. And sadly, no.
Right. Yeah, and the loot, like we've been saying the whole seed, it's just been so light, and it's weird to see Edge so, just kind of with 2 tin cans in his hands at the end there.
Right? I'm gonna go watch the VOD, so I'll see it all then, but I'm guessing somewhere along the way, maybe Apex just broke down and did shopping and found ninja swords. I don't know.
Actually,
well, I mean,
I believe he had 2 dancing daggers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he had better weapons than you, but that is a gigantic set of air quotes about better.
Dancing daggers, they had a little more attack power, a little less accuracy. Edge has enough levels, it probably makes up for the accuracy, so, but wow.
His Edge did get the kill shot on Z with a hit of a whopping 1,300 damage, which I think was his best output the entire fight. So, yeah.
Really? No X-Cal?
Yeah, no.
Well, no, he had an X-Cal, and he had Spoonward, and he did... he actually grinded immediately upon getting underground.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that was Edge's best damage for the fight. Apologies. But yeah, it was very interesting watching y'all approach that. And your Overworld approach, you did the Twin Harp, you did Zot 1, you did the package check. Was all of that predicated on you wanted to hit those 7 bosses early and do Eddie strats?
Yes, that was a hard gamble for a record finish, basically. That was like, give me 2 of these 3. Come on, work with me here. That was a hard push to just try and completely short circuit the Overworld. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense from that perspective, that, you want to take on whatever you can in order to get through whatever you can, and then just go to Z right away. So if that's what the game plan was, and it was wonderfully executed, and in another world and another seed, it may have gotten you a 45-minute finish. This just it petered out real fast after those first 5 bosses.
Yeah, it's definitely a gamble. I knew it was when I made the choice, but it was a decision I had made honestly before I even got to Fabul. Like, I got done with Antline, I'm working my way across, and I'm like, nope, we're gonna push for this. We're gonna try it. There's no point that I'm gonna go straight underground after Fabul. So, at that point, since I'm not doing it then, I was just gonna commit to the play and take, whatever I could there, and, even if I don't get all, even if they're not both there, just having one there might have shortened my underground trip, was kind of the thought.
You get those checks done, you don't have to worry about them later. I totally get it.
Yep.
Yeah, well, take us through kind of your underground play as well. Then you went underground. Obviously, you didn't grind, which is in line with the Eddie strats. You went dwarf, you went Fey March, and all of that. You went through basically, and we're kind of just clearing those bosses. You ended up fading Ruby, but you took the guards. You peaked Luca. That was all just still in line with that. I'm looking for every boss possible to get to Z as quick as possible. Is that correct?
Exactly. I knew which guards it was because we saw Baron guards in their vanilla location. Vanilla. And so I knew it was tower guards, and I, like a split second, reminded myself, that's right, I just bought coffins.
Yep.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there in the menu like, don't punch my edge, don't knock my edge out, I'm good.
Yeah.
And it's like, if this is just a little bit of XP, because an important part of Eddie strats is your Eddie had better be RA1. So I'm sitting there trying to get him some agility, knowing I've got Sid hanging out in the city. He got dropped off there immediately, like, okay, you're my anchor if I need you. So I'm just like, let's get Eddie to the point where he's RA1. It was honestly being able to glitch the officer and get a fair amount of experience would have been reward enough, but the Luca key was a nice bonus.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you got through this seed, you did it your way, and it was really cool to see it. And we were kind of clamoring about it that probably won't see this, but maybe once more in the entire tournament with Eddie or hybrid Eddie strats. It would take a very unique situation. So just wanted to compliment you on being able to show that off. It was really cool to see it in action and see it done like to a T as well. It was phenomenally executed.
The second time, yes. The first time I got distracted by Apex's done and realized a little too late, oh wait, I never threw out a silk web. Dang it.
Yeah.
But, get
The
over
first
that
time-
hiccup and then it was fine.
The first time didn't count. Don't worry
No.
about that.
But yeah, it was,
No one
it
saw
was
anything.
such a great recovery. Yeah.
Oh.
So you will be after this, moving down to the waning bracket of the Blue Moon. Anything that you're looking to change? Anything that you're looking to do different? To do the same? Are you going to play to your opponent? Play to yourself? What's kind of your mindset? I know it's very shortly after finding out you're going to the waning bracket, but what's kind of your mindset if you have one kind of in place right now?
It'll still be an aggressive push. Like, you mentioned that Apex did a grind when he got underground. Not surprised. I'd seen him work. I'd looked at a couple of the Blue Moons that he'd ran. And I kind of knew that was his MO. Kind of similar to your school of thought, Possum. When you get underground, get your power, and just set your party up then, and immediately start making up the time on that grind by clearing bosses faster. But I was, I was playing a more aggressive, push the envelope strategy, and I'm going to keep doing that.
Yeah. Well, definitely makes sense, and I look forward to seeing that aggressive play. I always love watching it because, again, it's, as you alluded to, it ain't my style. So it's cool to see folks do it and do it well.
Yeah.
So I look forward to watching you continue on in this one.
Absolutely.
I'll keep it going as long as I can. Thank you both for the comms. I'm going to really enjoy going back and listening to you all call the race. Asuka, thank you for the roll. Thank you for the early spoon, the Edward, and a bunch of bosses lined up in a row. And Jay Brunter, thanks for getting the buttons lit up. Everyone in chat, thanks for watching. Keep watching the Blue and Red Moon stuff. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and thank you once again, Commander Leonhart.
GG's,
Very well run, and
Commander.
GG's.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, that was Commander Leonhart. Again, our second place finisher this evening, but first place in our hearts for that wonderful display of Edward Strats. You know him, you love him. It's the Spoony Bard, and he's the only character that can reliably do that.
It's a thing of beauty.
But while we may be done here, we are not done with Free Enterprise by a long shot for the evening or for tomorrow. So we are going to be raiding over to Tall Grant, who is running some Blue Moon flags. And we also have some Free Enterprise we want to shout out for tomorrow. We have 5 restream matches at 11 Eastern, Eisen versus Zyrak on Free Enterprise. At 1 p.m. Eastern, Guerin versus Alchemy on RPG Limit Break. Dathis versus Mechalink at at 3 p.m. Eastern on Free Enterprise 2. Degar Smash vs. Dragus at 5 Eastern on Free Enterprise, and then Elvinsara vs. Bardic Panda on Free Enterprise 2. All 5 matches restreamed. So, yeah, it's been a blast.
Jam-packed
and
tomorrow.
It'll continue to be a blast. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you, Asuka, for the restream. Thank you, Jabron TR, for pushing the buttons. Thank you to the racers, Commander Leonhart and apexcorvid. Y'all were wonderful, and look forward to seeing you both do some more racing. And Flossie, for your first time on comms, you did an absolutely phenomenal job, and I think everyone should give you some love and a follow as well. And I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you so
Send
much.
us off, my friend.
All right, thanks everybody. Have a wonderful night. Let's keep it rolling. We're going to raid Tall Grant here, and I will see you over there. Thanks, everybody.
No spoilers, or you get the bonk. Bye.
No spoilers.